We are basically long-range planners. We look into 20 years or more in time ahead and try to see how we can improve life, society, various systems.
Dr. Satish Chandra Seth's contribution by way of Seth-Hava method of scenario building, anticipatory management and strategic planning is used internationally today for preferring, inventing, planning and implementing a future.
We futurists believe in divergence, encouraging divergence of ideas, so that we do not know what assumptions, what emphasis might be the answer to some of the things that you would like to see happen hereafter.
He truly believed by thinking and planning long range, we can reach the future of our choice or its alternates. He called that future is today.
What is today was future once, and people then didn't look into what this day would be like. And at least we cannot refuse to abdicate our responsibility and to deny our children a certain kind of future, and we must think of it now.
He was deeply interested in the thought and practice of change, reforms and social redesign, as well as redefining good governance and understanding of political processes.
One salvation for this country would be when we will have Indian definitions. I do not know what Indian worldview or Indian thought or a school would be in terms of leading us to a new future or some El Dorado. But I do know that some definitions, some affectionate disposition to look at the national stock is essential.
He was a science administrator and the prime mover of the Futurology movement in the country. His specialization was in the fields of public administration, Management and Future Studies. He was Member Secretary of the Government of India's Panel on Futurology in the Department of Science and Technology and became Director and Head of the Futurology Division in 1984. He also served as consultant and advisor to many prestigious national and international organizations and founded the Indian Council of Management and Future.
Future studies, as we all know well, have three major components: technology forecasting, social forecasting, and technology assessment. Technology assessment is the long-range impact of a certain technology on man, nature, and society.
He was wedded to long-range planning, developing and encouraging futures consciousness in all systems, particularly in education and management.
What next? What next? Now, this is the essence of development. This is the essence of embracing aids. Technology, new science, new technologies are simply aids. They take us from one threshold to another threshold. And this movement is not against the foundational rigor that school systems have unnecessarily defied and have put the whole learning into a straitjacket.
He was deeply influenced by M.A. Iyengar, Professor W.J.M. Mackenzie, Robert Jung, and Professor James Data. Dr. Seth's personal philosophy for success was a strong belief that there is no shortcut for success. For him, how much knowledge one has acquired and further passed on to others for their betterment was success.
What we are trying to do here is that we are creating an alert body of interdisciplinary people who from their own angle are trying to look at the randomness of the future, who are trying to probe into the mystery of uncertainty, who are trying to analyze change and determining in the social interest the right direction of change, and that direction is being incorporated in our planning process. This is how future studies is today one of the most powerful tool of management for socio-economic development.
His books and publications exemplify this belief. He also wrote plays such as Musical Clone based on futurology for children.
प्यारे बच्चों, मैं आपका प्रधानमंत्री बोल रहा हूँ। मुझे अभी-अभी आपकी चतुराई की इत्तला मिली है। अपने देश को अब कोई बाहरी खतरा नहीं है। ये जानकर मुझे व्यक्तिगत राहत और खुशी प्राप्त हुई है।
He played a pioneering role in spreading and institutionalizing the importance of futurology as an academic subject and got it introduced at the MPhil and MTech levels in several Indian universities, duly approved by the University Grants Commission of India.
Now there is a new breed of scholars, a new realm of scholarship where we are trying to look ahead in terms of systems and in terms of images.
He also got financial assistance to many universities and colleges through the UGC.
Future is change. Future is nothing but events, two kinds of events. Events we would like to see happen, fulfillment, opportunity. Events we would like to see not happen, which come as threat. In fact, all futurists must develop opportunity inventories and threat inventories to the system that they are studying.
Future was a resource to him that could influence and wherever possible prefer a quality of life.
तोड़ दो इस क्षितिज को, देख लूं उस पार क्या है. Break this horizon. I want to see what is beyond it.
distinguished audience, I must just say that with deep respects to Dr. Seth himself, I did not have the privilege of knowing him, but I have read about him, and I am humbled purely by the fact that the people who have spoken before me have been so distinguished that I can barely share the same stage with them. You have asked me to speak. By the way, I will reveal this to you. She did tell me just now briefly that she checked me out on my YouTube videos, and had I not passed, I would have not been permitted to stand in front of you. So with that, I deeply appreciate the fact that I got a passing grade there, and I'm really, really appreciate it. His contribution, it is a rare honor to deliver this talk. It's the 7th memorial lecture on futurology. Although that is not a subject I am certainly that familiar with, it resonates enormously, and I hope I can bring it together with some of the subjects that I wanted to talk about, that I have been invited to talk about here, which is really the future of work, skills, and workers. What I have read about him tells me that he has left a rich legacy of thought, a man far ahead of his time. And I love the phrase that he wants to see what is beyond it. What is beyond the future?
Listening to what Dr. Satish said during his lifespan is really mind-boggling and amazing. We have seen the people talk about the man who saw tomorrow. But I think he is the one who saw not only tomorrow today, but he saw tomorrow yesterday. And that is how he could visualize, could understand, and also comprehend the need to look at many of the issues which we are going to confront in the future, at least start planning for it today. And someone who is not really a scientist, in a sense that technology scientist, the one who has studied sociology, studied liberal arts, and the one who actually then mastered into it. This is also another lesson for us. In fact, in India we are focusing too much on technology without understanding the implications of liberal arts and its ability to open up your mind to many new issues. And therefore that is something is also an interesting lesson for all of us. But he did that. And as it always happens, with him went the ideas also, unfortunately.
Dr. Seth, you came to my office, really gave me a whole picture of your family. It was so nice to hear that. At the end of almost half an hour of one-sided talk, I think I didn't get any opportunity to react to you, but I found that I have to give this lecture. That was the ultimate outcome of this thing. I really feel and especially after having seen the preliminaries of this particular talk, about Dr. Satish Seth is an extraordinary kind of a person who's, I think, who sees the future not through crystal ball, but through hardcore logical and scientific principles, which is what makes the future much more reliable as a prediction. Otherwise, many people have predicted future in many ways, and many of them have gone. Even the question of steam engine or the Rutherford's work on the scattering, he never thought that atom can produce energy of the type of magnitude that we are producing. So there has been several studies of this kind of a thing, but few futures have been always many times fraught with complexities. But then Dr. Satish Seth, after seeing this, is in a very different path. He has taken the futuristic studies, and that makes it, there is a realism in everything that he has predicted. So I am really very privileged to deliver this very important lecture, and that too after a set of illustrious predecessors.
Because I believe people like Dr. Satish Seth need to be remembered not only for their convictions, not only for the content of the message that they made. I think we in this nation need to once again pay tribute to pioneers, to people who have a conviction, the courage of their convictions, and the perseverance to follow them through. More often than not, in this current scenario in India of staccato ideas and transient emotions, we forget the fact that there have been people who have been part of the fabric of making this nation.
Let me at the outset say what a great honor, what a great privilege it is to have been invited to deliver this Dr. Satish Seth Memorial Futurology lecture. I must say I've been a great admirer of Dr. Satish Seth. He showed us the way to the future. You know, someone used to say, I'll only think of the future because that is where I'm going to spend the rest of my life. And how true that was. I think he was a great pioneer. He thought ahead of all of us. In fact, I remember Science Advisory Council to the Prime Minister in mid-80s set up the Technology Information Forecasting and Assessment Council, inspired by Dr. Seth's thoughts in terms of the importance of forecasting. So it's a great honor to pay my tributes to this great son of India. I am also, I feel really very humble when I think of the previous speakers like Professor Yashpal and Professor Swaminathan. They have been not only iconic, they have been my gurus. So it's a great honor to follow in their footsteps.
It has been a great privilege to have been invited to deliver the second lecture in this series of Futurology in honor of Dr. Satish Seth. I've had the privilege of knowing him and the family, and therefore it's a double privilege. When you know somebody, it's always a greater privilege to talk about their life and work. I think in a lecture which is dedicated to the continuation of Dr. Satish Seth's legacy in terms of futurology, I have chosen today to reflect on certain aspects of the shaping our agricultural future. Whenever there is somebody who predicts, forewarned is also forearmed. We should take lessons from what is going to happen and be prepared for it. You can't say tsunami is going to happen and then wait for the tsunami. We must take steps out to avoid it. That is the advantage of futurology. It gives us a new power, a new vision, how to manage the future, and we can shape the future.
I came to know Dr. Seth when I started working in Department of Science and Technology. हर वक्त पीछे लगे रहते थे, फ्यूचर का ये करना, फ्यूचर का वो करना, फ्यूचर का ये करना. A tremendous inspiration. और मेरे बाल बहन ने पिलाए थे आपको खींच के, तो उनसे मैं आर्ग्यू ये करता था कभी कभी, मैं हिंदी बोलूं थोड़ी, कि यार मेरी जिंदगी तो है ऐसी कि हर वक्त फ्यूचर बनाने की कोशिश करता रहता हूं, but most of the time I face failures. More challenging the program which one takes up, less is the success. There have been minor successes. And I think this is what all futurologists who want to alter the world face. And they must continue.
फ्यूचरोलॉजी का मतलब कल से लेकर तो इन्फिनिटी तक सोच, और हमारे भारतीय दर्शन में ये सोच थी, ये है. हमारे सारे ऋषियों ने हमेशा व्यापक दृष्टि से सोचा. आनो भद्रा कुतो यंतु विश्वता. ऋषि कहता है सारे विश्व से अच्छे विचार मेरे पास आने दो. ये पार्लियामेंट में हमारे लिखा हुआ है बड़े इस पर, अयम निजा परो वेत्ति गणना लघु चेतसा उदार चरिता नाम तु वसुधैव कुटुंबकम। सारी वसुधा को, सारी पृथ्वी को एक कुटुंब मानने वाला ये विचार भारत का दर्शन का विचार। क्यों? कि हमारे ऋषि मनीषी फ्यूचर, they were all futurologists.